On the morning of February 24, 2014, when people in lane 195 of the Lake and Shower woke up, they heard a loud crash at their gate, followed by the sound of a motorbike racing away, leaving behind the groans of a man about 30 years old lying in a pool of blood. When receiving telegrams from people, the authorities were immediately present at the scene. The victim was quickly identified as Lieutenant Vu The Thang, born in 1984, an officer. Traffic Police Team Number 1, Haiphong City Traffic Police Department. The investigation of the scene and the testimony of witnesses initially determined that at about the time on Thang, he was riding in a colored air blade from the market house of Hang Thuong Du Hang, Le Chan District to the office. When he arrived at lane 193, the perpetrator suddenly used a weapon to hit his head from behind, causing Mr. quickly fled, but when people discovered the Chinese air blade motorcycle had disappeared at the scene, from the initial information of the case was so fragile that it could be said that it was almost zero. Because the time of the incident was early in the morning around the place of the scene, there was no passerby. The victim was seriously attacked. The injured person is unconscious and has not provided any information. From the results of the scene examination as well as the victim's injury, the police agency initially investigated injury to the victim. Before the seriousness of the case as well as the victim being a police officer, the agency has not yet opened the question. The cause of the incident may be personal self-defense, not a crime. After the case happened, there were many lines of information, including the fact that this Comrade Thang had personal organizational relationships or the specific nature of his work, which could lead to regarding the conflict that the subjects retaliated against. In the face of such public pressure, we also focused on thoroughly understanding the ideology of cadres and soldiers and also mobilized ideological officer for the relatives of the comrade in arms, including his wife and parents and relatives, and from there also launched a movement where he worked and where the organization resided to find out if there were any. Do you have any doubts? Right after receiving the report about the case as well as the health status of Comrade Thang, Major General Du Hu Ca, the director of Haiphong City Public Security, directly visited and encouraged his family, Mr. Thang's family, at Viet Type Hospital. Comrade Du Hu Ca also discussed the health status of Mr. Thang with the doctor, in order to have the best treatment because according to the doctors, the health status of Mr. the victim was in a very critical condition with brain rupture due to injuries, and was quickly reported to the Ministry of Public Security by the Director of Haiphong Public Security to establish a special project to investigate and arrest the culprit while Lieutenant Vu The Thang is being treated at Viet Type Haiphong Hospital in a very critical condition. Hundreds of police officers and soldiers in Le Chan District and the ward to investigate social crimes. The police were mobilized to participate in the hunt for the perpetrator. Right after the incident, Major General Du Ca requested a meeting of the local professional units and he immediately signed the decision to establish a special project committee, assigning Comrade Colonel Nguyen Van Quang, deputy head of the police investigation agency, to be the head of the committee. The members of the specialized committee, the local police, are members and mobilize all forces inside and outside the industry to serve the investigation of the special case. With the direction of such superiors, the unit fighting the special case has had a very close coordination, when in the face of public opinion as well as from the results of the scene examination. Initially, the special team hypothesized that the case happened because of a personal vendetta in life or maybe a revenge. Something related to personal work, because before moving to the Traffic Police Department, Mr. Thang had a long time working at the police station. I detained the Haiphong City Police. Hypotheses were put forward. A reconnaissance mission was mobilized in the direction of checking and urgently reviewing the relationship of the winning lieutenant in daily life as well as at work. During the investigation process, it was known that Lieutenant Month had a wife and 2 children. Now the whole family is living with his wife's family. His wife Thang is a teacher of a school in Le Chan District. in the common life with Thang as well as in the family, there are no conflicts nor conflicts with anyone. After finding out that there is a relationship in the daily life of Comrade 1, it is verified that there is no is there any contact at this time, that there is a question of whether this case is related to the work at the Traffic Police Department of the Haiphong City Police, according to the comrades who worked together at the unit. Since the day he transferred from the prison to the traffic police force, the lieutenant has always obeyed the regulations of the unit's branch. Dispelling rumors among the people, the special committee as well as his comrades determined that the only way to quickly find the culprit was the young cadres who always obeyed the military and civilians' orders well after receiving the reception. When dealing with external affairs, he was always agile. In accordance with the process of patrol and control, all kinds of work were smooth and completed all the tasks of the team. One day a case happened. The people of the country had a case. Identified the air blade and some of Thang's personal assets in the trunk, including a set of dam and cuffs number 8 and some personal belongings left in an empty alley not far from the scene. Was found the key was still plugged into the ignition. However, the license plate was removed, put in the trunk of the car instead of a fake number plate. Directly after that, until the morning of February 25, 2014, while driving, sanitize the area of Ong Bao Lake close to the location where the motorbike was found. Haiphong urban sanitation workers to continue to detect the military equipment of the army. Traffic police force floating on the lake. Information was immediately informed about the notification to the agency. With the discovery of the lieutenant's personal belongings a month after the incident happened, judgment as well as the desire to quickly bring the perpetrator to justice before the law and have a solution for public opinion. At this time, the investigation agency gave a completely different direction. The evening of the day, on February 25, the subjects dumped Comrade Thang's car to another area, and right after that in the morning of February 26, we found all of Mr. Thang's personal belongings that were thrown into the lake. Identify the subjects who have committed the act of robbery, and when it was discovered that the property belonged to police officers and soldiers, the subjects did not dare to consume but threw it out in the area. Also from here the reasons commit crimes, initially such as two jealous animals or personal conflicts, are eliminated, going into the element of property robbery. After determining this is just a common property theft in combination with developments related to the case, the Special Case Committee also quickly located the target of the crime in Liqian district, because if it is not a person familiar with the area, it is difficult to find the time and location to cause the crime. The case was rarely visited by people to find a secluded place to run away from. Once a group of subjects was gathered with professional expertise, the investigative agency immediately screened hundreds of subjects with criminal records or problems involved in social evils in Liqian district or showed suspicious signs to put on the blacklist. After conducting the screening, the investigative force noticed that Vu Tan Sun, the Soviet sister, was born in 1963 at number 8 above 342 to Hu, Ho Nam Ward, Liqian district. In addition, according to archives at the Sun Soviet Public Security Agency, there were 5 previous convictions, while there were 3 previous convictions for property theft with a total penalty of 30 years in prison. Although he spent more time in prison than outside, but just returned from prison, Sun Soviet Union did not give up drugs, but also engaged in gambling like a moth. From the information obtained from the police also collected another source of money to buy drugs and gamble. Xian Soviet was still often with a group of people specializing in theft and robbery, and Sun played the leading role. Rob. After verifying and collecting evidence related to Vu Tan Sun, CA invited the subject to paint to the investigating agency to work, but Sun was constantly absent, capturing information from the department where Vu Tan Xian resides. Resident, it is known that he left the locality a few days ago, and this time of absence completely matches the time of the crime. In the face of questionable information about the phenomenon, You immediately check your mobile phone. The police officers determined that Soviet Sun was the #1 suspect who attacked and robbed Lieutenant Vu the Thang. However, when they quickly saw the upheaval, the Soviet Union quickly escaped, despite having strong forces. Haiphong City Police said that they were deploying to arrest, with the experience of a person in prison and out of prison, living a life of hiding from the police, so after committing the crime, Sun constantly changed his hiding position and changed his SIM card. Sun even changed the SIM card to call his family when he was here and there, then he beat Lak Huang to investigate. The subject informed that he was at his house, near Hoa An Duong High School, in the tea house in Nam Duong in Andong and Duong Commune. All the information we checked. But not true. Immediately after identifying the suspect causing the case, the Procuracy approved an urgent search warrant for the painted subject's house. When the special team was present at the painting house, the subject fled and carried out searching the house. The special team discovered the axe suspected to be the subject of the crime, determined that the subject was a person with a wide social relationship, so the organization could not timely arrest the subject who could have escaped from the house. Vietnam's territory, making it difficult to solve the crime. Since then, the police force had to mobilize 9 arrows to arrest the violation of the plot to escape. And could not have imagined that all of his plots had been predetermined by the special committee. If you want to go anywhere, you must have money, but the further away you go, the more money you need. At this time, there is no other place than Y's daughter, Vu Ton Thuy. After putting Vu Ton Thuy in the spotlight, the project committee is also very cautious because Thuy is as cunning as her father, who is over 20 years old. Thuy once had to go to re-education at a reform school and was also a drug addict. On the evening of March 1st, the reconnaissance force discovered in the Soviet Union hiding at her son's house 43/199 Hu, Hunan Ward, District Le Tran. On February 26, the police force in plain clothes locked up at the corners to prevent the subjects from trying to escape. However, due to the densely populated area, it became difficult. The police force was worried that will be able to harm innocent people living around the area of the escape contest. Immediately the plan to notify on many houses in the area about the arrest of criminals is carried out, and people also see suspicious photos. Criminals to identify, so the families are closed to avoid being wronged by the bad guys. As soon as the plan to protect the people's safety has been implemented, the authorities and quickly mobilized a large number of forces to raid the house where the subject was hiding with the determination to solve the case, after being informed of the people's support and help from professional units of the Ministry of Public Security. The police of the provinces, especially the close direction, the harmonious coordination of the professional departments and the police of Le Chan district and the police of the wards across the city, we have focused on identifying. After many days and hours of predicting the location, we also focused on safely capturing the subjects of Shuyan Sun Soviet Union and their accomplices to investigate and clarify the case, and up to now, all the work has been completed. The way to complete all the police agencies initially, the Soviet Union also confessed that early in the morning of February 24, after using drugs with accomplices, they invited each other to prepare chromophore as a weapon to rob property for money to eat and spend. When he slashed his head and stole the motorbike of Lieutenant Vu Thang, Sun Soviet and his accomplices panicked and discovered that there were some personal belongings in the trunk of the car. Only then did the traffic police know that they were robbing the wrong police. The Soviet Union stoned their accomplices to throw away all their belongings, personal belongings, and everything in one place in order to misdirect the investigation of the police agency, but still could not escape. From the testimony of the subject of the police agency arrested, in addition to the subject of Nguyen Ton Sun as the mastermind of the case, there was another subject, Nguyen Van Chien, born in 1988 in Cold Village, Dong Phuong Commune, Hien Thuy District, Haiphong, who is the subject of the direct murder. Sun Soviet is the mastermind in the case of injury and is also the subject of up to 5 criminal convictions with 30 years in prison. Sun was released from prison on May 31, 2013. After serving 14 years in prison for property theft, after being released from prison, Sun worked as a motorbike taxi driver, but after a while, he left people to wander on February 25, when the subject caused a robbery and fatally wounded coincided with Thang, only for a very short period of time with the determination and the right direction of the Board of Directors of the Haiphong City Public Security Department. Quickly find the perpetrators of the crime before the light of the law, restore peace to the lives of the people of the Portland.